People who are stopped at a red light for 1 minute but creep forward a few feet every 10 seconds. Why? I once saw a guy creep through the entire red light. At no point did he decide to just go. He just kept on creeping until he was on the other side. To wait faster. I'm more curious about people who charge up to stop sign or traffic light intersections at apparently full speed, and slam on the brakes with half the front of their car in the intersection, and then look at the rest of traffic like they are surprised other people are on the road. I find a little joy when people race past me toward a red light, as I gradually reduce my speed. Then, when the light turns green, I'm cruising right past them comfortably as they floor it from a dead stop. Chances are that they'll do everything they can to pass me again, but the same thing can happen over and over again passing through some towns. Either way, that sort of herky-jerky going just seems like a stressful way to drive. Probably not too much, but after a while, it probably adds up in wear and tear too. As someone that's mostly driven older cars, I'm never not paranoid about my brakes. I keep them in good condition, but you never know. That's why I have a huge stick in my car and always roll my window halfway down. In case I need some manual brakes. Drill a hole in the floor and flintstone it. Yabba dabba, don't do that. Why, will my feet get hurt? Betty your ass it will. Barney. It's like pressing the button harder for a more powerful attack. Yeah, but that is how you get more powerful attack. Isn't it? I can neither confirm nor deny. Next you're gonna tell me tilting my controller doesn't help my steer better, and leaning in my chair doesn't help me see around obstacles either. Tilting my controller doesn't help my steer better. Honestly, the most satisfying thing about motion controls in more recent Nintendo games. It's so much fun to be playing a Mario game, shake your controller for emphasis, and it actually does something. Because the person in front of me did it. It's like yawning. Thanks for the free yawn, King Stranger edit. Kind sorry, I'm bad at typing help. Ah duck, now I'm yawning. Thanks y'all. Child sleeping in car. Must not stop motion. This is the most legit reason in this whole comment section. New parent, can confirm. Old parent. Can also confirm. Child. Can also confirm. Average parent, can confirm. Child with motion sickness, cannot confirm. Some stoplights have a camera sensor or an in-road sensor to detect if there is a car. By creeping forward, the hope is that you activate the sensor, which will trigger the light to change. The radio station I like is 60 miles away. Sometimes when I stop it's stuck on static. I have to creep forward to find it again. Legit the only reason I'll creep, and I still hate doing that. Or some big ass dump truck has stopped besides me and ducked the radio signal, so I have to creep to find it. I take that back. I'll also creep to stay in the shadow of a big ass truck so the sun doesn't shine on my eyes. I have a buddy who does this creeping, so I decided to ask him. He said that he was under the impression that certain lights have pads in the ground that detect weight to determine when someone is actually there, so it can prioritize changing the light, and that he does it to try and make the light change faster. Most all sensors are not weight but induction loops, so simply detect the presence of cars above using magnetism, as all vehicles are metal. You can see the lines on the road where they are embedded, and are sometimes too narrow for a car's wheels to be on, hence why they're not weight sensors. Damn, I had no idea. Thanks for teaching me something new today, kind stranger. Sometimes looking for an angle at which I can see the signal on the corresponding lights to anticipate when I'll need to get into gear. Yes, my friend has a stick shift and I didn't realize how much time and energy there is driving it in a city. Traffic lights and intersections aren't really anything bad in a manual. It's the moving 2 inches at a time in bumper-to-bumper traffic on the highway that takes energy and the patience of a saint. Too much stopping to just stay in a low gear and wiggle back and forth to not stall. But moving just enough that you can't get a little momentum and just coast on neutral. It's that terrible middle ground where you are constantly shifting just to go nowhere. I just want to run over the guy who stopped me. Since robots can't identify stop signs or traffic lights in CAPTCHA images, maybe self-driving cars aren't such a good idea. What do you think the purpose of these CAPTCHA images are? They're for training the eye so it will be able to identify those signs. I've noticed Google Maps has actually been adding traffic light locations. I assume the same will happen for the sidewalks too. Trigger the traffic light sensor. There's a street near me that has a light on the sensor. All the locals know it. If you don't drive close enough, it never triggers and you're stuck at the light forever. It sucks to be stuck behind someone and they don't realize it. Had that happened to me with an Uber driver. He was in front and he stopped a good 5 feet before the actual line where the sensor is. At first I tried to wave him forward, but he would not listen. Then I tried to honk a few times and scoot closer hoping he'd get it. Finally, when I was just about to get out and speak to him after sitting there for what felt like 5 minutes, but was probably just 2, a car the opposite side pulled up and instantly started the light changing process and turned green. Imagine how conflicting it is, if you're not on 2 wheels often to be a motorcycle in spot 1 and you try and mime your way to get the car behind you to creep up on your ass to trip the sensor, but you don't want to undo people's good awareness habits of leaving you space, but have no way of effectively conveying that you need an exception from them. The question I have is why some people stop 30 feet before the next stopped car. Please for the love of God pull forward so I can get in the left-hand turn lane. Edit, y'all are giving too much credit to some of these distracted texting driver fools. Always nice to see Reddit giving strangers the benefit of the doubt though. There are driving classes out there that do teach and recommend leaving 1 vehicle length between vehicles at stoplights. But like most of the super safe driving techniques, it is seen as crazy and rude by other drivers. Best to practice those techniques on bad weather days, when the spacing and such is truly needed. I was always taught to leave enough space to see the bottom of the tires of the person in front of you. That should allow you enough space to turn and move if their car becomes incapacitated. This is what I was taught when I was training as a delivery driver for an auto parts company. The second part of that was that you don't take your foot off the brake until the car in front of you doesn't have visible brake lights. Just playing the guessing game with myself really. And, grain ! 4, 3, 2, 1, grain. You can tell when it's going to change by looking at the lights for the currently moving traffic. Don't cheat. Hess one of those assholes that would look at your screen during the split-screen FPS era. Cheater. I don't want awkward eye contact with drivers next to me. I imagine this is how introvert drag races get started. I inch forward trying to adjust my foot when I press the brake at an awkward place, like near the edge. The longer I sit there, the more traffic is piling up behind me, and I am thinking of the person 12 cars back that would be able to make that right turn into the parking lot if only every car in front of him would close the spaces up a bit. And then when the light turns green, they just sit there. I drive manual transmission. If you're top at the lights you can usually see when the other light is turning red, signaling that yours is about to turn green, especially if it's a junction you're very familiar with. You're just getting the car to the bite point, ready to go. You still check in both directions before proceeding, just in case someone breaks the red light. I'd be interested in people who drive normal-sized vehicles, but will still swing out in the right lane to make a left-hand turn like they are driving a semi. I've gotten into an accident because of someone doing this. It was also my fault as well. They didn't have a left turn signal on, and they looked like they were slowing to park on the right. It was a residential area where street parking is common. Assuming that was the case, I thought I would just carefully pass so I could make the light ahead. Nope. They swung right into me. Fortunately, I was already going slow, so only a minor dent for both of us. The kicker was that the apron of the lot they were pulling into was as wide as Ducking, Texas. Absolutely no reason to swing out if you're in anything but a semi. Use your fucking turn signals, people.